You know what? You're wrong. I had to press it again. Well, hello and welcome to the Tequila Hour. My name's Amanda. It is the 1st of April 2024. I am using my Rode signature series. Let's see if it dies in the arse. I'm back. Backstreet back. All right. I don't know what I'm saying. The microphone's working. The microphone, if you listen to my podcast, died in the fucking ass. So we'll see how long it lasts. And if it sounds like a ton of shito. Sounds pretty good right now, but yeah, right now I'm just recording and I haven't heard it back. So we'll see how that goes. Anywho, first of all, I can't believe it's 5:27 in Australia, New South Wales, in the secret location. Yes, I'll tell you what day where that is. Oh, shit. I think it just blasted really loud. Anyway, yes, the secret location, you will know about it one day, probably, highly likely. I can't believe it's the 1st of April. I said to my husband last night, I said, why am I wishing the time away? Why is the time? Because, okay, I'll go back a couple of steps. Maybe even more. Grab a drink, grab a snack. It's just going to be a relaxed one today. I'm into it. Going to talk about a couple of things and we'll see where it goes. But anyway, last night, talking to my husband, I was doing some Lego. If you love Lego, you would know about this set that I'm going to describe to you. It's a relatively new Lego set that's just come out. It's a Technic set. I don't know what it's called. I should look it up while I'm talking to you. It's like the Sun, Moon and Stars Techno set. There is a name. I'll look it up so in case you want to do it yourself. But it's a great set, may I say. And whilst here we go. Lego. I love Lego if you haven't figured this out yet. It is Planet Earth and Moon in Orbit set. I finished it last night. I can't speak. I finished it last night. Just thinking about it makes me happy. It's my first Technic set that I've ever done. I love it. Is it spectacular? In my mind, it is. Look, just look it up on the internet if you're not a Lego nerd like I am. But basically, the Planet Earth and Moon in Orbit set is basically showing the sun. It's this massive sun, and it's a technical set where the Earth and the Moon rotate around the sun as it does in real life, and it's just sublime, and I love it. And whilst I was doing this set and finishing it off last night, I said to my husband, the time is just going faster. It feels... Oh, wait a minute. Please hold. My phone's ringing. And I'm back. Talked to my husband, put the bins out because it's rubbish day tomorrow morning. Don't know why I'm telling you that. It's now 5:47. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's have a quick update. let's just talk about a couple of things I want to talk about. And really, I'm just freeballing today. And I'm going to be straight up with you. Yeah. I wasn't sure I was actually going to record a podcast, actually. You would be like, Amanda, why? I am saying to you that, I don't know how to approach this, but basically, look, I'm going to be honest. Someone said something to me that really took the wind out of my sails. Is that the way you say it? Took the wind out of my sails. And could I say that I brought it upon myself? You probably could say that. Could you say that I've read into it too much? Yeah, you could probably say that too. And I want to talk a bit about personality traits, probably in line with this conversation, because I'm going to be straight up. I am referring to a conversation that I had. I'm like I said, I'm not going to talk about it. I am talking about it, but I'm not going to be as specific as I want to be right at this present time. I might be more specific in the future. May I say to you that it taught me a lesson. It taught me, and I'm straight into it, sorry. I do this all the time. I'm straight into it, okay? So if you haven't grabbed a drink, perhaps you might want to do that right now. I'm now drinking Monster energy drink. I've had a couple of Smirnoffs. We can talk about that if you want to, or if I want to. But so if you need some sustenance before I just blast into what I'm going to say, then quickly do that. Okay. Anywho, I had a conversation. I had a couple, as we do. And out of the conversation, I'm like I said, I'm not going to go into specifics right now, but I will in the future. I learned a lesson. I learned that, what did I learn? I learned that not everyone sees me how I see myself. I learned that people can listen but not actually hear you. I learned to now realize people's true, and again, this mightn't be a true reflection on who they are as a person in their entirety. But when I say to you that this conversation had a profound effect on me, it did, and it taught me a lesson to never broach particular subjects in reference to other particular subjects. And yes, when I feel more comfortable, I probably will talk to you in its entirety, honestly and openly. I have said in my podcast is my place where I can be honest and be myself in its entirety, whatever that may look like at the time. When I say to you as well, there is a level of boundaries that I now am very mindful of clearly upholding so that I don't feel, I was going to say ass raped. Oh, shit. So I don't feel, that was extreme, sorry. That was very extreme. So I don't feel... Clint Jeffrey. Now my phone's ringing again. Sorry, give me a second. And I'm back. Time to... Look, it is what it is. Like I said to my husband, I do have a stop button and a record button, which I can use. What was I talking about? Yes, I was talking about a conversation. I was talking about my feelings. sighing deeply because I'm going to be straight up with you. It deeply affected me, actually. As part of this conversation that I had, my podcast was brought up. And the way it was brought up and the way it was then quickly glazed over, it actually, I don't think the person realises the depth of, what am I trying? I'm trying to be very mindful of what I'm saying here. When I say to you that my podcast, which I've talked about, is my passion, it is my passion, okay? It's more than just me sitting here in front of the microphone and warbling on about shit. It is, not only have I mentioned it being a place where I can talk about things I want to talk about, a place where I can go more in depth about things in my life, like a personal journey. When I talk about mental health, when I talk about my life in general, this is my safe place. This is my passion. This is very important to me. When I feel that I am being attacked, and this could be personable. I feel like this microphone is very, anyway, sorry. When I feel like I'm being attacked, may it be real or perception, and whatever it is to me, it is my perception. When I say to you, I really struggle to then come on today, in a sense, to do a podcast based on one conversation from one particular person, it actually makes me really sad. I don't think some people realise, or a lot of people really, and why would they, that some people realise how important this podcast is to me as a person, how it aligns with me as a person, how it aligns with my core values, my motivation, what I want out of life, what I want to achieve, how it aligns with that. To say to you that one conversation deeply affected me to the point where I feel, and I did, change things, and I won't go into it. Yeah, it's now on reflection, I sit here and I really had to think long and hard about having even this conversation, to be honest with you. And that's bullshit, because I say to you right now, this podcast is me. This is it. This is my voice. This is my place to communicate. When I feel like that place is being encumbered by bullshit, I will call on it. And when I say to you that I've had to then create boundaries which seem pathetic, really, in its nature, I sit here today and say to you that, look, you could read it in between the lines if you want to and come up with your own conclusions. I would say to you moving forward that I learnt a lesson, and it's a great lesson actually, and I learnt who I actually need to, or who's my audience. That's number one. And number two, in line with that, who are the people in my life that I can truly rely on, who know me, who actually give a shit, who hear me, not just listen, because I'm going to be very clear and succinct in what I'm saying right now. There's in my opinion, a very big difference between listening and truly hearing what someone is saying. So when I say to you there has been a lot of reflection, there's been a lot. And I am a very reflective person, may I say. If you knew me, you might, well, look, if you listen to this podcast, you might have a greater sense of who I am as a person. If you actually take the time to truly listen to this podcast, you'll even have a greater perspective of who I am as a person. When I say to you, I was devastated by this conversation, I was. When I say to you that it taught me a lesson, it did. And it was actually a great lesson. And I am looking at it from the perspective of being thankful that I learnt that lesson of who that person truly is in that moment. Is it a true reflection of who that person is? Probably not. But when I say to you that's enough to show me what I need to know, then that's enough. And I'll leave it there. Moving forward, I don't want to squander and revel in a moment of time that really doesn't warrant reveling in. What I will say to you, though, is I really am struggling with perception. I really am. I am struggling with what I want to do moving forward. And yeah, I want to touch on a couple of subjects. The main subject that comes to mind is just, what do I want? And I know I've talked about this. I can talk about my life. I could talk about my work. I could talk about my marriage. I could talk about, that's about it. Pretty much. I could talk about my financial situation. I could talk about my dreams and my goals. I can talk about all those subjects intertwined because they are. When I say to you a couple of things that I've brought up in the past, being that I'm going to Japan, that's it, full stop. I have made some decisive decisions around work. I'm not going to go into it, but I have. I have made some, I just need to be clearer. And I'm struggling with why I'm not clear. And it's interesting because I've spent, so look, we're at the 1st of April. Oh, beep, beep, hi, bye. There's lots of cars going past my house. Hi, beep, beep. No, I don't know what that was. That was weird. Drink break. When I say to you, nice. When I say that, why am I berating myself for not having all the answers? And why do I feel like I'm groundhog? And why do I keep overthinking everything about particular things? And I sit here today, and like I just mentioned, there was a part of me that I wasn't even going to do a podcast. There was a part of me that, I just wanted to play with some makeup and have some fun and leave it at that, and not even engage in something that truly sustains me, actually, believe it or not, my podcast. And yeah, I've had a very interesting, weekend, in the sense that I feel like I've been overthinking every fucking thing. I don't know why, but I have. Perhaps because I can't switch my mind off. And perhaps it's easier to sit in a place of just being distracted by bullshit than being mindful of what's in front of your face. That could be part of it. But I sit here right now and it's 6:07 p.m. It's the 1st of April and I'm looking out here at the forge I know. We need to discuss this, but the name. I know the name. The Forge. And it's glorious. It's a beautiful, I close my eyes. It's a beautiful time of day here in Australia. The sun is slowly setting. I'm looking out towards a beautiful scenic bush theme. There's trees in front of me, all right? The sun is slowly setting and creating shadows against the gum trees, and it's just glorious, may I say. And I'm thinking, why am I so absorbed in shit? Why am I so absorbed in shit? So, I'm going to tell you, I've watched some really interesting videos in the last couple of days. One of them being in regards to, you might hear my mouse scrolling in the background, is about personality characteristics. And I've talked about this in the past. I did the personality test, you might recall. You might also recall that it identified on the MBTI personality type test, which is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI, that I was INFJ, meaning introverted, intuitive, feeling and judging. One of the rarest types of personality types. And yes, if you know me, you straight away be like, yeah, of course, you think you're the rarest. Fuck you. I am, bitch. And some of the things that's come up and some of the videos I've watched in the last day, I'm like, mate, this describes me so much. It's just horrendous. But in saying that, it's brought a sense of calmness because it's kind of like, instead of my mind going, look, how do I describe my mind? I don't think I can. I think I've talked about my depths of empathy or feeling. When I say to you, I feel everything. Not just mentally, but physically, I feel things. Like I was going to say I feel when a tree is sad. God. That sounds stupid when I say it out loud, but I feel so much deeply, okay? And when I talk about people, I don't purposely do this, okay? But sometimes I will tune into it because I want to have a greater sense of who that person is. But when I say to you, I absorb people's feelings and thoughts, I do. That sounds weird, but I do. If someone's sick, I feel sick. Like I will feel sick. That's one example. If someone is sad and I'm talking to them, I will feel sad. Like I will feel physically sad. And I've talked about this when I say to you, it's a beautiful trait to have. And it's probably my nemesis at the same time. It's exhausting. It's beautiful. It's horrible. It's wonderful. And I don't think many people understand the depths of this. People with this personality type probably do understand what I'm talking about. Most people probably don't understand what I'm talking about. I used to think for a long time, and I kind of still do, that it's just an Aquarian thing. It's just because of my star sign. No, it probably is, but it's also it's to do with my personality type, who I am. And, you know, I often think I'm a bit weird, and I kind of am. But what I'm trying to say is that I can get lost in my thoughts. I often feel like, and this is an anxiety thing as well, I'm very clear on that. Sometimes I think it's an ADHD thing, which I don't know if I have that, but who knows, who cares, where I will get lost in multiple lines of thought, all right? Not just one, but multiple lines intertwined at all times, okay? When I say to you that I purposely have to try and stop it to concentrate on, I don't know, watching a movie. And there's certain things where I can get lost in a certain thing that will then take me out of that, all right? Will pull me out enough to then focus on something. When I say to you that my mind is going all the fucking time, it is. And it's not a bad thing. It's great. I'm glad my mind's working in one way. But in another way, it's fucking exhausting. And I am very aware of that. And I'm very aware that I have to take time out of that. So for me, you know, YouTube's a place where I'll watch multiple shit. I love just getting absorbed in makeup videos because I love makeup. But last night I was watching a couple of videos about INFJ. Okay, so like I said, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI, is a personality type just best described as introverted, intuitive. Thank you. I know. Sorry. YouTube notification. Thank you. Watched it. Introverted, intuitive, feeling and judging, sometimes referred to as the advocate or the idealist. People with this personality type are often misunderstood, and I've talked about this from the same site. But perhaps it's because INFJ, I can't even say, is the rarest MBTI personality type, making up only 1 to 3% of the US population. Thanks for that. I'm in Australia, by the way. Or maybe it's because they're walking, talking contradictions. INFJs are easy-going perfectionists. They're both logical, emotional, creative, and analytical. And I believe that I said I was INFJT, known as turbulent advocate. So they have certain characteristics, being compassionate, helper, idealist, organised, both emotional and logical. Their strengths include sensitive to the needs of others, reserved, highly creative and artistic, focused on the future, values close, deep relationships, enjoys thinking about the meaning of life. I do, actually. Idealistic. Weaknesses. Can be overly sensitive. Maybe. No, I am. Sometimes difficult to get to know, probably. Can have overly high expectations. Fuck yes. Stubborn. Yeah, probably. Dislikes confrontation highly. Yes. Where does that leave me today? I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about, let's, intertwine it to the conversation I was having with this particular person, and kind of ruminating on why am I just so fucking absorbed in the idea of a particular subject in my life, okay? And I'm like, why do you give a fuck? Why do you give a flying fuck about this so much, is what I'm saying to myself. And why are you spending so much of your precious mental capabilities on bullshit? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like I'm absorbed and I don't care, but I care. I want to resolve it, but I don't. And it's kind of like where people give you little nuggets. It's like, okay, I was having a conversation with my husband and he randomly said one sentence about a particular thing. And I'm like, you know what? I've never thought of it. I kind of have. But when someone says it to you, you're like, you're right. And yet, when I say to you I've spent the majority of my long weekend thinking about shit, and it's shit, and here I sit here today and I'm like, can I not think of shit? Can I not? Is it really just based on the fact of my personality traits that I don't know, I'm like a fucking walking robot and I'm obliged to think of this shit over and over again because I can't change it. I mean, I could talk about cognitive behavioural therapy. I could talk about that. But is it going to change those massive synapses in my brain at the age of 51? I'm not saying I can't change, but I'm just putting it out here, right? I don't think, look, I could be wrong, but I don't think idealistically that someone who is set in a certain personality type can suddenly change from another personality type at the age of 51. Prove me wrong. Is this a thing? Like, could I do that? Do I want to do that? Do I want to not be who I am as a person? That's a good question. I am, and I have learnt, and I'm learning and continuing to learn that I think and feel very differently to every fucking person around me. Everyone. There are people I feel more attuned to or feel comfortable with. And I would say to you that it's very likely a normal, I don't know, feeling or behaviour of most adults, where there's some people you feel more comfortable with and some people you don't. Some people you vibe with and some people you don't. I would say to you, though, that I feel like I'm, what do you call it? Tooting my own horn here. I feel completely alien to everyone around me. And I don't know, there's certain people that I've kind of like, I think they just, maybe for who they are, it just works. And then now there's just certain people that through learning or going a little bit more on a journey of who I am as a person, because like I said, I'm on the journey, right? I'm probably going to be on the journey of learning about life and who I am and how I think and how I feel and how I want to feel and what I want to think. All of that, right? When I say to you that people who, if I was to say my circle is small, all right, and then I would say to you the majority of people in the circle have no fucking clue, all right, I can't expect them to understand. Really? I can't. And where does that leave me when it's kind of like I want people to be on the same page, but they're never going to be. So I just have to accept that, and I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with people being on the same page as me, or even do I want them to be on the same page and at least acknowledge what I'm saying? They don't have to understand it. This is the thing. Look. In an ideal world, do I want people to understand me as a person and support me and hear me and relate to me and relate to things that inspire me and make my brain explode? Yeah, I'd love that. And in an ideal universe, I'd probably think that I'd like to be surrounded by people who think like me. People don't. They don't. I have people like my husband who mightn't think how I think in its entirety, but really he does understand me quite in-depthly. I can't speak. In depth. I'm trying to spit it out. He does understand me to a certain point. And he's open-minded enough because he loves me, that he loves me as a person. That's huge, right? It's fucking huge. Do I want certain people to apart from my husband to love me, we want people to love us, don't we? But do I want people just to respect me and hear me? Yes. Do people do that? No. And then how do I feel comfortable with that? And how do I deal with that moving forward? And that's where I'm at today. And there's a couple of things where I've just gone, if I do A, right, I'm not going to say what it is because like I said, I'm now setting very clear boundaries, okay? When I say to you, if I did A, would I get the result B that I want? And it's funny because I thought if I did A, the result B would be what I wanted. Instead, I'm like, maybe? It's never going to be B. And are you comfortable with that? And I don't know if I am. I know, third world problems here, people. Drink break. Yeah, when I say to you third world problems, I mean it. I'm saying to you, I'm looking out the window and I'm looking at the sun setting. And this is what I do. Because this is what I have to do, right? If I let my mind go there, my mind will explode. All right? I won't. I don't know if people think like this, but do you ever think if you go on a certain track of thought and keep going without engaging in everyday life shit, that you'll just do yourself in? I know this sounds very dramatic. But when I say to you, I purposely have to sometimes just, I know. I'll give an example. I took the sheets off the line. I washed my sheets, right? You don't need to know this, but I did. And I had no shoes on and I could feel the grass on my feet and I felt the grass and it felt beautiful and I had to mindfully think of the grass. I know this is stupid to normal people. I had to just mindfully think of that, all right? I'm sitting here now talking to you and you're probably thinking, you're wacko. You could be right. I say fuck you. When I say to you, I'm looking out my window of the forge and the sun is even setting more and it's creating and casting shadows in the gum trees across the view that I'm looking, and it's I don't know, is it nature? It's glorious, actually. It's beautiful. It's one of those strange things that I know when, then it actually, this is weird. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional about nature, but anyway, it could be the mindset I'm in at the moment. But it blows my mind, eh? And it's an anchor, like a boat anchor. Figure it out, fucking idiots. No, sorry. It's an anchor that I personally use, like grass. It's weird. Not the wacky, the grass on your feet. Sorry. You know, the trees, the cloud, the air, the sun, the moon. I know, it's nature, it's outside, it's life, it's meaning that draws me back to create a sense of mindfulness and centers me, basically. Because I'm going to say to you very, I was going to say succinctly, it's not really the word I want to use, but when I say to you that, I don't think I've touched on this, but I might have, I don't know. There's so many things I've touched on. When I say to you that sometimes if I get lost in my thoughts, and I know I do, and I let myself, and sometimes I know I have to just pull myself back because it honestly feels like it's too much. I know there has been times when I've gone, I don't want to think like this anymore. I actually don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Read between the lines, all right? It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And then I look out the window and I see the shadows across the trees and I'm blowing out my microphone. And I think, fuck, that's beautiful, eh? And it's just sun reflecting, and this all came about from not being heard. And INFJ. No, J. Not G, J. Anyway, mate, where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? What I say to you is, and I come back to this, I wasn't going to do a podcast today. The conversation deeply affected me to the point where I was like, not that I was going to stop doing my podcast in its entirety, but it really made me question my intent on doing it. And it really greatly upset me more than I think this person would ever even acknowledge or anticipate or understand. So, yeah, there's that. And you know what? Despite my feelings and thoughts and all of that and getting lost in the minutiae of my bullshit, because what I say to you, it's bullshit. No, it's just my mind trying to reason and understand things. I would say to you, I've come out the other side and I've had some lessons learnt, which is great actually, because now I see certain people for who they truly are. And I've also realised which I always knew, my absolutely love and affection for this, which is my podcast, which is truly my passion. But then moving forward, what I want to do with this, you know, what I want to create with this. And recognising that, you know, if you want to talk about segments of your life, if you want to talk about your home life, your work life, your personal life, your aspirations life, what you want to achieve, then I would say to you, apart from balance, because, you know, we could all crap on about that and we could talk about that another day. I would say to you that I truly do need to focus on the things that make me happy, that inspire me, that tickle my pickle. That sounds stupid. That just creatively inspire me and engage me and align with my core values. And like I said, I think I've mentioned this a couple of times now, it's really been something that in the last couple of years has just really come to the forefront of my mind and what life's really about. And at 51, you kind of, I could reflect back on all the shit that's happened and all the great shit and all the crap shit that's happened in my life. And I would say to you that I'm now at a point where I'm still trying to figure some shit out, and that's okay. And more importantly, though, I really want to focus on the things that just bring me joy, that make my heart burst, that make me want to cry from pure joy, like looking at these trees and the shadows and the sun and the setting, and I don't know why I'm crying. It's glorious. I don't want to focus on the shit, the human bullshit of shit. I want to focus on that. I want to focus on looking out here and yeah. Anyway, you'd be like, what are you talking about? And I'm wearing makeup and it's probably going to run down my face and I don't care. Anyway, I did take pictures before. Anyway, look, I might leave it there today. I know my beautiful husband, will be coming home soon, and he'd be wondering why I'd be crying, and I'd say I cut some onions. No, I don't know. No, I won't say that. What I will say, though, is, there's certain things that I'm inspired about, some things that I've thought about over the weekend. I am inspired about going to Japan and working out what that looks like. All right. Places I want to go, where I want to stay, what I want to do. I need to create a plan. I need to just create a fucking plan. So I need to do that so that I have a plan. I also have Huxley and Soma, which I don't think I've talked about a lot, but it's my brand and it's just new. And you don't know what it is. And I'm not going to tell you right now. There's things I want to do in that space that I'm truly excited about. And that's what I need. Like when I'm saying there's looking out at the trees and nature and the sun setting, and it fills me with joy. Oh, I can see my husband. All right, I might leave it there. Anyway, I'm just going to stop this because now he's coming in. Give me a second. And I'm back for the final time. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to leave it there. We are at 52 minutes. We are at 6:42 p.m. on the 1st of April, 2024, Australia. New South Wales, secret location. Anyway, thank you to those who do take the time to listen and download this podcast. I do truly appreciate it. To those who want to listen, you can download this podcast. I don't know what I'm saying. Download this podcast on your favourite streaming platforms like Spotify. Hey. My favourite streaming platform, and please give it a 5-star review because I'd appreciate that. Anywho, if you want to contact me anytime, my email address is info@thetequilahour.com.au. I mainly hang out on Instagram via my channel, The Tequila Hour, and the _1_Amanda. I do also have channels on YouTube as well if you'd like to check them out. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there today. Like I said, thank you to those who do take the time to listen to my rambles and my crap and all the rest of it. And I will catch you on the next one. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.
Like you don't need